Okay, welcome to the next episode of the Mars Made by You, the podcast. I'm your host, Deni, and today I'm super excited to have with me Maylis talking about women in engineering. And for everyone who is listening this episode right now, and you're considering a career at Mars or in Royal Canin, and you want to get insight into this engineering space and hear a bit about the experience that Melis have had and from her perspective, this episode is exactly for you. And now I think let me introduce you to my guest today. Melis is originally from France, but she is actually currently in the Royal Canin factory, which is near Krakow in Poland. So she studied before agro-industrial engineering, some very complicated degree that I can probably never finish. But today she's actually in charge of an asset health check project, which is pretty much replacing a part of our production line to be aligned with our best standards. So super interesting project, and I cannot wait to hear more about it. But before that, I have to, of course, review a fun fact about her. And just to put you a little bit on the spot, Melis, but you've been working all this time in the pet food industry and you've never actually owned a pet yourself. Am I right?
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but hey,
But who knows, maybe by the end of this episode of talking so much about the pet food industry and Mars and Royal Canin, you might actually convince yourself to get one.
yeah, I already have a good specimen right here.
Exactly, exactly. So unless I have missed some interesting thing about you, I'm suggesting we start with a little bit of an icebreaker game.
Let's go.
Super. So I have to ask you, since we already touched on the topic of you not having a pet.
hmm
I was wondering if you have ever considered getting one, and if yes, would you rather get a cat or a dog or a turtle or I don't know, a bird?
Well, I think I'd like sometimes to get a dog if I have a big house and a big garden somewhere that the dog can feel comfortable in. Because to be honest, it's not only on my part. The dog has to be really comfortable also. So
Yeah, that's absolutely
maybe,
true. And you know exactly how the food is made and all the treats around it and all the delicious
yeah.
parts of it.
For sure, if I ever get a dog, it will eat only Royal Canin only and have the best of the best.
Of course, from an inside perspective, I think you have all the information needed. So
Yeah, that's really cool.
perfect. And then, well, when we leave the pet food aside, maybe then the other interesting thing that I want to know about you is if you have a favorite Mars product or a product that you cannot live without. It could be a pet food as well, but since you don't
Well,
have a pet,
I think I'm a big fan of the classic M&M's. Like easy to go, easy to have, all-time favorite, and never deceive,
never disappoint.
never disappoint.
Perfect. That sounds amazing, and I'm super excited to actually spin our great wheel of questions for you today and deep dive into a bit the world of your perspective of engineering perspective at Mars and Royal Canin. So super excited. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, we have our first question for you. And it's actually something that I was wondering myself when speaking to you before. Considering this super dynamic market that we're currently in, can you tell us a little bit more about like how does your team keep up with this super fast changing environment in your field?
So that's a great question, actually. Since I've started in Mars and in Royal Canin, I've seen two main changes in the dynamics of the market. So when I arrived, it was just after COVID, and the market was booming, and there was an explosion, and we had to like produce, produce, produce. Right now, it's a bit slowing down, so we have more time to work on projects to ensure the safety is quite the best everywhere. The quality is the best everywhere. And so I think that it's really interesting to see how agile people from the factory are
Yeah.
and how dedicated they are to making the best of the what we have. And so yeah, I think that the people's flexibility and like willingness, sorry, to work and to adapt is really a great plus and
Yeah.
really interesting to see also.
Yeah, sounds like it, and it's definitely super. I guess super hard to keep up with this ever changing environment, especially on your side of the business. Definitely.
Yeah. And we've seen throughout the different phases kind of the business, people are being afraid, but uh, the management and the people that handle all of that stuff are really always really reassuring and make sure that everyone understands the changes that are coming, understands the impacts that it will have on
Yeah.
their jobs and on their everyday life. So overall, the people are doing well,
The
and it's
people
good
are
to
the
see.
key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And I was also interested to hear your perspective as being a woman in this type of industry, that it's very hands-on, and usually it's like perceived as more, maybe more male dominated. Have you faced any challenges, and how did the company actually support you in this journey? Can you share a bit more about this?
So I was faced when I first arrived. I was faced with the challenge of someone questioning kind of my ability to deal with problems, and as I'm a young woman in this field. But once I stand up for myself and I say that, okay, I'm here, I'm able to do the job, I'm as able to do the job as you, who are an adult, well, older than I am man. Well, it's okay, and I just have to prove myself, and it's also a challenge, and it gives a bit of spice, I feel, to the job,
Yeah.
and it makes it interesting and more challenging. And at the end of the day, if I'm here, it's that I'm able to do so and that people trust me to do well in my job. So it's a
Yeah.
big plus. And whenever I doubt myself and other people doubt me, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, I'm here. Going to do the best that I can, and we'll see what happens. And usually everything good happens. So
Yeah.
Mars really helps by giving the opportunity and telling me that I'm able to do so, and they also give me the environment that's really really good and really nurturing. So overall,
Yeah.
it's a great experience.
And you sound like you've been quite motivated and encouraged, and I think that's quite important for everyone who is also listening, and regardless whether it's a woman or not, like I think that's quite of a hard industry to be in, and as
Mm-mm.
we said, it's very hands-on, and it's quite nice to hear that you had people around you who have been supporting your journey, encouraging you, making you more believe in yourself, and that's how you've been pushing through different challenges, right?
That's true. And as you said, it's no matter if I'm a woman or if I were a man. It's everyone has the same opportunity. We all face different people, and sometimes there are teams where there are more women, and that men can face the same differences. So I just happen to be a woman in a man's team, but hey, I'm here, I'm doing the job, and everything's fine, and I have the environment to support me. So it's good.
Yeah, I think that's such a great perspective, and as you're saying, like that doesn't really matter. It can be both ways,
Mm-mm.
but it matters how supported you are, and how actually you find yourself, like encourage yourself and motivate yourself. Hello, and welcome to the Made by You podcast, brought to you by Mars. In this series, we'll talk about all the things related to Mars early careers, from advice and top tips to milestones and some surprising stories. So, if you're looking to grasp your future with both hands and make products that the world loves, search for a role at careers.mars.com. Okay, then I have a second question for you. Let's see what's gonna be this time. So let me spin the wheel one more time, and then let's check. Okay. Right. Well, I guess today we're quite interested in your experience as well as you said, being a woman in a men's world of engineering. And do you feel like engineering is maybe there is a stereotype around this that it's predominantly male dominated field? And how did you overcome this stereotype when you came into to Mars and Royal Canin? Like, how did you stay motivated? Did you came with this mindset already that this kind of proved to be wrong when you joined the company?
Well, I had a great lady role model, so
Okay.
I never saw it as an all male field as much as I feel it kind of today. Well, like to be honest, the role models from the engineering perspective I had were all women, and they were all really like able to do their job and really comfortable in their job like all the time. And when I joined the team, like as myself being part of the engineering team, I saw that there were only men. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, that was unexpected, but I'm really happy to see that. And like the people that I saw that were really like really courageous and really good engineers were women. So I was like, okay, why not me? And let's go, let's do it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I never, to be honest, I never saw it as a real challenge. Like I
Okay.
just happened to see it. It's mainly men, but hey,
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that there is anything that has to hold you back.
yeah,
And for those who are also listening and perhaps are maybe holding themselves back from opportunities because an engineering industry can be more male dominated, maybe I think you're a good example that actually you had very great female role models, and you yourself have succeeded so much also in your journey. And you have been one of the very few females probably in your teams, so that's not any blocker, and it shouldn't be, right?
yeah. And there are few women in my team, but there are many others in the wider factory team. So in many other teams, there are women who are here who face the same realities every day, and like we can share experiences, share advices, and like everyone's here to help another, and we're all uplifting each other. And there's a also yeah, I wanted to mention that there's a great ARG, which is like an initiative of Mars people of women in engineering. And so each month there are meetings where each person shares their experience, can share advice, can share like learnings they got. And so it's good to see such a community of people surrounding each other and uplifting each other. And this is what's great also at Mars and at Royal Canin is that there are mini groups of people who are here to help another, who share the same experiences, and it's overall very positive.
Wow, this is super great to hear. And actually, for those of you who are listening and wonder what kind of groups are they, I would just give you a bit of context here. That there is something very unique about Mars and Real Canin as well. That there are these associate groups, as Maylis already mentioned, that pretty much unite around a certain interest or a certain topic. And we have many of them across Europe and across the world. That one of them it's women in engineering, or just also people in engineering, and I think that's also a great kind of place to exchange a lot of ideas, as you say, to feel supported and to connect with other like-minded people in the field. So you can never feel the weight of these stereotypes around that you're just alone, or you're the only women or the only male in a certain team. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
and there's a great will of everyone to connect and to create all of these little initiatives. And at the end of the day, it's really a great sign of that we're never alone. We can be supported by a lot of people, and there are a lot of women in this team, but there are also a lot of men and a lot of allies, if we can say. And so it's great to see that it goes beyond only the women in engineering. So great to see.
Fantastic. Amazing. And well, you have already touched a little bit on this, and you have already said how much you've been supported by the people around you. But then I have to just straight ask you what makes really Mars and Royal Canin's factories a great place to work and to be part of. And is it more the people, or is it more like the products that you're working with? What would you say?
Well, I'm a people's person, to be honest. I think you can feel it. No, I really like all the people that I've met, that I've crossed paths with, was always really enriching. And no matter how long or how short I worked with them, there was always a bit of story that we made together. And I think it's really beautiful. And being able to see in the factory people who've been here for like 50 years, and like just this morning, I talked to someone who was in the factory before there were even keyballs in the factory, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. They can share
Wow.
stories, they can share experiences, they can share advice on so many things. And we're all here to make the world a better place for pets. So we're
Yeah,
all here for the same goal, and all together in a big team, big family, if we can say so.
yeah,
It's people
yes,
are the best part.
absolutely. That's super interesting to hear, because I think from my perspective, and it's very interesting I have this conversation with you, because I'm sitting in the offices of Mars, and I only see that part of the business, but it's very insightful to hear how you feel part of this family and part of this team, even though your job is very different, and it's well, you're not sitting at the office probably all day long as
No.
I do. But the feeling, it seems like it's the same as I have, and that probably makes a great place really to be and to feel part of one big family, right?
Yeah, and I feel it's so nice that how we are able to connect among different teams. And as you said, we're in completely different fields of work, and we have a completely different reality of a day-to-day work, but we're still able to connect and to share experiences. And at the end of the day, yeah, it's one big team, one big family, and we're all here for one another and uplifting. And so it's really powerful, I feel.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and it's always a great, insightful knowledge into your world and your team's world, because I think we see the final product on our side, but it's very interesting to hear how it is made, and all the hard work that goes into it, and all the high standards that actually go into that, and you're also part of this process, so that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never without challenges, but at the end of the day, the challenges make the win a bigger win, and the success a bigger success. So it's
Yeah.
always nice.
Yeah.
But to be honest, sometimes the market is a bit complicated to deal with because it changes so much. But we make it
Yeah.
work.
Of course, I think well, we're all facing probably same challenges, but from different angles. So I cannot imagine what it's like to be in the factory, but I can definitely can tell you how hard it is to be on the market. So
I bet it is.
yeah, so I think we help each other, and what you said about being so easy to connect with one another, it's what actually makes the business quite successful, because we're able to share this experience and to understand yeah, our products better, and how everything it's made.
Yeah, and how everything's connected and how each other can help another. So
Yeah.
lovely.
Absolutely. And well, then I have to torture you one more time, and I really want to give you one last question. So if you let me just use my magic wheel once again and just spin it exactly, and then we'll get to the last question for you today.
Go ahead.
Super. Okay, almost there. All right. Okay. So okay, I have a last question for you that I'm sure that everyone who has been listening so far would be quite curious to know. And we spoke a lot about being a young woman in engineering, stereotypes around this being more male-dominated field. But actually, you as an example really first breaking these stereotypes, but also explaining that actually like this is not so scary, and it doesn't make any difference in what kind of team you land in, because all perspectives are important, and all kind of diversity within the teams is also appreciated at Mars and in Royal Canin as well. But to get to my last question, I wanted to ask you, what kind of advice would you give to any young women that are listening right now, and who are still maybe holding back and considering this kind of a career in engineering, and maybe feel a bit discouraged about the field, or not quite sure if that's for them? What advice would you give to them?
Speak to people who are doing it and kind of go seek what you're looking for. I'm not sure if I'm clear, but like the best way to know if something's made for you is just to try it. And here the risks are limited and the people are really willing to help. So it's really easy to say and easier said than done, but don't be afraid. People are here to uplift you, and at the end of the day, it's your job. It's not your whole life, and uh, there's no pressure. Everyone makes mistakes. We can all try to do our best, and as long as we communicate well, as we surround ourselves with the right people,
Yeah,
nothing can go wrong. So just do it. Just go for it and try and ask people their experience and
and
do
everything will
it
be.
with your touch.
Yeah.
Each-
Wow, super, super, Maylis. Thank you so much for sharing this experience and this career path with us. Thank you for encouraging others to also take that, to not be scared, to not hold back, to just do it, to connect with people that are like-minded and that can encourage them to pursue that type of career. And also thank you for taking care of our products, making everything it's in a super high quality and standard.
No,
I'm
it's really
sure every
important.
doc appreciates that. That
I hope they do because we work hard for that.
perfect. All right. Well, I think with that being said, we're wrapping up this episode, and stay connected, stay tuned for more topics and more conversations on the Made by You podcast.